In this cell phone video, the story just pours out of Banaz Mahmod, and so does her panic and fear. As her boyfriend records it all, Banaz lays on a hospital bed, describing what she herself still couldn't believe. It was New Year's Eve 2005 in London, and Banaz's father, an Iraqi Kurd and devout Muslim, told her to grab her suitcase and go with him to her grandmother's. There, she was forced to drink alcohol to prep her for what was to come. She says, "I finished the drink, I finished all of it, and then he got up," she says, and left the room. Banaz says when he came back, armed with surgical gloves, she was sure he would try to kill her. She ran from her grandmother's house, smashed a window, hysterical, as she called for help. She ended up in hospital that night, her boyfriend at her side. As she told police the whole story, her family wanted her dead. Banaz had left an abusive marriage arranged by her family and then fell in love with an Iranian Kurd who wasn't part of her clan. She knew her new love, coupled with the failure of her marriage, brought shame to her family, and that they believed the only way to restore the family's pride was through a so-called honor killing. That night, Banaz left this hospital with an offer from authorities, a safe house. She turned that offer down and sealed her fate. She returned to her family believing her father could never bring himself to kill her. He didn't, at least not with his own hands. Just weeks after leaving hospital, Banaz was abducted by two men, raped, strangled with a shoelace, and then her naked body literally packed into this suitcase, only to be found months later buried in a suburban backyard miles from home, that shoelace still tied around her neck. Her boyfriend still lives in hiding with his grief.
They were cool, they were just heartless people. My life went away pretty much when Banaz did. The only thing which was keeping me going was the moment to see the justice being done for Banaz.
A London court found Mahmod guilty, convicted of ordering his own daughter's murder. Banaz's uncle, Ari Mahmod, also convicted of murder. But two men charged with actually carrying out the crime fled back to Iraq.
Banaz was a caring, loving young woman with the whole of her life in front of her. And that life has been brutally cut short by the very people that should have loved her and protected her. In any terms, the ultimate betrayal.
A sobering admission from police, considering their report shows they questioned her version of events. Official figures show as many as a dozen women a year in Britain are the victims of honor killings. But the figure could be much higher. Apparent suicides for young Asian women are 3 times the national average, and there's little explanation for that. Banaz's sister, Bakal, worries about being the family's next target. She now lives at a secret location and wears a full veil, convinced she must hide from her own family. Her arranged marriage fell apart too.
Just escalated to a big argument and all the uncles getting together. And the main one, really, Uncle Ari, he was the one that was saying, you know, if I was his daughter, I should be, you know, killed by now and turned into ashes. You bring his shame.
For her family and clan, Banaz was the picture of shame, deserving of death. Even from the grave, her pleas for help are resonating here, as police investigate more than 100 suspicious deaths, wondering how many victims of so-called honor killings have gone unnoticed. Paula Newton, CNN, London.